Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new lesson. So in this week's lesson we're going to be looking at something that I went through with one of my clients, Robert, trying to help him actually get a bit of a better strike on the golf ball and also trying to get him a little bit shallower through impact. So what I mean by that was, Robert's been coming to me for quite a bit of time now and we've been working on his golf swing and he's gone quite a long way, to be fair to him. He's putting some really good work, but recently what we've been finding, he's just sort of slipped back into some of his old habits, and that would be when he's been out on the golf course, and I'm sure plenty of us can actually align ourselves to this. He's finding that he's getting quite a big divot. The strike's okay, but he's feeling like quite a lot of energy now is put down into the ground, actually going really down, almost digging a big hole, this massive divot, instead of actually just sort of brushing the golf ball away. We'd know we like a divot, we'd want to see that we get, you know, a little grazing of the turf, and also we'd want to see that we're attacking the golf ball from the right angle. We want to see that we wouldn't be attacking it from the outside, and we want to see that we attack it a bit more neutrally, and also maybe a little bit more from the inside. So I'm going to share with you a drill that I've used with Robert and many of my other students to help us get away from being too steep and taking those huge divots. So let's have a look at this drill now, folks. So for those who don't quite understand what I mean by the actual steepness of the golf swing and attacking it from the outside of the golf ball, if we imagine now, if I had a target line running up to the middle of the fairway here, if I was going to be playing my 5-iron off this tee here, what I mean and what we're finding with Robert was that he was starting to get some swings. When he gets up to the top, was a pretty good backswing, a lot of good things happening there. Then as the club changed direction in the transition from backswing into downswing, we saw that the club was getting a little bit steeper there, thus resulting in hitting the outside portion of the golf ball here as opposed to the inside. Obviously, as I address this golf ball, I'm stood on the inside now, and I'd like to actually attack it a little bit more from the inside. So we were finding A, he was starting to get it from the outside of the golf ball, and then B, as he was making the swings, and obviously at the driving range we're on a mat, but you could tell after 45 minutes, he was saying after he'd been practicing that he was starting to get like a bit of a pain in his lead wrist because he was hammering the club into the ground, and you could really hear how harsh that club was actually impacting into the ground. If you take that back out onto the course, what he was finding that he struck it well, but it wasn't quite getting the full distance of what he was doing, because as he was doing it, instead of the club actually coming in and a lot of the energy being placed into the back of the ball and swinging through to the target, it was a lot going down into the ground this way as he was starting to do it. So we got a little bit of a drill going, and I'm going to show you that right now. And as if by magic, a big foam noodle has appeared in shot here. So what I've done here, I've got an alignment cane and I've put it through a big foam noodle. The reason for that being, obviously, if you do hit it, it's not going to damage anything. Also, what I was saying earlier about Robert, what we would find was that he was coming very much from the outside of the golf ball. So with this drill, what we were trying to do was stop him from actually coming down so vertically and so steep onto it, and actually start to feel that he had to swing underneath the foam here, and also feel that he's swinging from in to out as he started to go here. And what we were finding early on, we were doing some sort of half swings with a 7-iron to here, and even then we were getting this sort of action where, as the tee pegs here, where the ball was a moment ago, even then Robert was dumping the club over the top and still hitting the foam noodle. So we had to take a bit of a step where we closed the stance to start off with and feel, right, okay, well, we know that our target line's straight down the middle. What we want to now imagine is that we're just going to hit some balls out to the right. Let's get them starting out to the right and see that we could get the club travelling underneath the foam noodle here. So we started to do that, and we got balls flying out to the right and actually started to see quite a crisper strike straight away. And as you notice here, as I'm doing this, if I was coming over the top, it would be buried down in a big thud. Here, all we're looking for is this little brush and feel the club travel underneath the foam noodle. Now for you at home, if you don't have a foam noodle, what you can do is place your alignment stick and put your range basket and just slot it through. And all we've got here, when I place this golf ball back on, the wind's actually pushing the noodle a little bit today, so we'd have the noodle here, and as I address it I can still see it. What it's doing is just hovering over the top of the golf ball, but obviously me stood inside, I'm looking down towards it a little bit on an angle. So what we wanted to do was get Robert to hit some shots out to the right and start to sweep it off. And we got these little half shots going, and we felt that we were just getting a little bit of a brush and seeing this there. So now pretty smooth, and even here when I've got the T-peg pegged up, I've only just grazed it and knocked it forwards ever so slightly. I've not got something where I've thrown the club over the top again and delivered that real descending steep blow back in and going down into the ground too much. Tour average of a 6 iron is only 4 degrees down, so that's not an awful lot. It's very, very close to neutral. If we're thinking there's 90, here's 45 and there's 0, it's marginal. So this drill here started to get Robert feeling that we were getting some really good swings and allowing him, actually even without the golf ball, to just actually let the club start to pass under and feel this brushing motion on the turf. And all I was looking for from Robert to start off was that we got this sensation, and almost if you, the viewer at home, if you were to try this drill and get a little bit more of a sweeping action, I want you to try and just hear that club just grazing the mat or the turf. Don't feel that it's slamming down and making a big hit into the ground. Just make some swings where you're just listening out for that little brush each time. Feel the club come underneath and get the little brush. See that you can start to do that, and then you should start to see that you're not getting it so steep over the top and you're getting more of a sweeping action. The final stage for Robert was to try and let him actually get somewhere he could get it turning over. So obviously when he would have the club travelling steep and over the top, the face generally wasn't releasing. So he'd get something where with the club travelling outside, he'd dump it down into the ground, he would trap it, and he'd get quite a squirty little cut shot down the left hand side of the fairway. And obviously when he got into driver, it was getting a lot more curvature on it. So we had some more swings where it was still half, but then as he was feeling that he came from inside and under the foam, he was just letting the face start to roll over a little bit. So we'd feel a little bit more of a draw shot, a little bit like this one. Nice. So we went from hitting them out to the right to almost turning them a little bit with a hook down the left hand side, and then the final feeling we got with Robert was taking the foam away. Just place that over there for us, and then what we wanted to see, I'll just peg this one up here, if he could try and get somewhere he was just cupping them off the tee and just bruising it. We weren't seeing that he was hitting the mat so harshly down into the ground. We wanted to see that he could start it pretty much on target and keep it there. Let's see. Nice, and only a tiny little divot there, just ruffled the turf a little bit, but it's straight down the middle and it's gone about 10-15 yards longer than what I started with, because now instead of putting all the force straight down into the ground, I'm actually sweeping and just getting that little bit of a graze on the turf, as opposed to the big piece of divot, you know, that we'd see that would be this big. Just a little graze and more energy was transferred into the back of the ball and allowing the club to swing out to its target. So if you are someone who is struggling with quite a steep swing and seeing that you're getting the outside of the golf ball and you're taking huge divots out on the golf course when you're playing, give this drill a go. So simple, but it gives you just great feedback. Obviously, like I say, if you've not got the noodle, all you need is your alignment cane just hovering over the golf ball, maybe put a head cover over it, and straight away any swing that's over the top and coming down too steep, you're going to clip it. It's instant feedback. We get the feeling of swinging under, have lots of practice swings without the golf ball, and then see if you can transfer it with some half swings. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. I hope that you're going to start getting that little nice sweeping brush motion and get the ball away a little bit better there. A big thank you also to La Cala for letting me come down here this week and film some videos for over the winter time. Gorgeous sunshine, it's great to be back. Stay tuned for plenty more lessons, and I'll see you in the next one as the noodle goes away.